Welcome to our Building Kids for Greatness podcast series, where we've had some wonderful celebrities on our program who have shared some great insights, including New Zealand TV icon Susie Cato, former All Black captain Sam Cane, and Hollywood A-lister actor Vince Vaughn. And today we have two very special guests who, as successful New Zealand authors, create the power of storytelling to build resilience, emotional intelligence, and cultural pride. A very warm welcome to Abel Tutagalevao and Renee Mariner-Solomon.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
So good to have you here. And I think a good way to kick it off is if you could tell us just a little bit about Cultural Hub, what it is, and how you two work together.
Yes, so Culture Hub for us began quite organically. So I've been supplying a lot of resources the last few years, started in 2017. And so I started off supplying local kindy where my son goes to. And it came about from some of the teachers there wanting more resources around Māori Pacific resources, but they couldn't find that many. So I put my hand up and I sort of helped the local kindergarten, and from there it just grew, and then we got into books. So a lot of centres and kindergartens wanted us to create books, and so from there we started our first books. And then I reached out to Renee because I knew that her background is in health science, naturopathy, and also psychology, and also she was well connected with a lot of cultural experts, especially Te Ao Māori. And so I reached out to her, and we actually, there was a natural fit really. And we're able to combine a lot of storytelling synergy and able to create a lot of resources that are really meaningful. And so hopefully to inspire a lot of our young learners and teachers.
Well, I've found, I think what both of you are doing is absolutely fabulous. And as soon as you walk through the door to our Kiddywinkles Centre, Abel, I saw the passion that you had and the knowledge that you had. And it's something that I wanted to share with our tamariki or children. And I think what you're doing is just exactly the right sort of thing. In New Zealand, we have so many different cultures, and certainly in our centres, we have up to 25 different ethnicities with tamariki from all around the world. So what does culture mean when we talk about kids learning and growing, and why is it important to bring culture into our children's early years?
Well, I'll probably share a few things and I'll turn it over to Renee. And I think for me personally, I guess culture is who we are. And it's more than being Samoan or Maori or Chinese, Indian, or Aborigine or English or Irish. It's about culture is our stories and language, and also it's the way we do things, our values. And for me as a Samoan, the values that we hold dearly in our culture is it's about ainga, which is like our family, extended family. It's about respect. It's respecting our elders and respecting others. It's fa'aloalo. Thirdly, it's about service. It's tautua. And then also it's about alofa. It's about love, the love that we share. So those are some of the things that that we sort of value. And so for children, and for us wanting to share those types of values, it just gives them a sense of belonging and identity and pride in who they are. And so what we want to do is we want to say to them, your stories matter, you matter. And so from there, hopefully it will help them to build that confidence and sense of pride in their culture and identity. Yeah. Renee, did you want to share anything?
Yeah, I'll just add a few things. So I think my passion with writing with Abel is to help bring that connection so that no matter if somebody's moved here from a different country, that we're able to build that connection together, that they live in Aotearoa, they're able to get to know the culture and become part of the culture, so they feel like they belong here. And that this is their new home. So I'm a person of mixed heritage. So sometimes, you feel it's a little bit difficult to find where you belong. But through writing and through my own experiences, having that connection and knowing that my mum's side has that Māori history, and we were able to delve into that and reconnect there. And then my dad is Samoan and reconnect there. So sometimes you're building connections with cultures you're not familiar with, but it builds your worldview. So for children, it allows them to connect on another level, regardless of where they come from, where they lived before, and helps build curiosity with each other, improves communication as well. So there's so many benefits, to learning about different cultures and living in Aotearoa. It's important that we learn te ao Māori and tikanga, things like that. And as Abel mentioned, the values that culture have, which is about, manaakitanga, looking after each other, being kaitiaki of the environment, so looking after where we all live so that we have that common ground of, looking after each other, looking after the whenua, and just building a beautiful place to live and thrive together.
Which I think is so good that we can start this at such an early age, because children and with our centres, they come from 3 months old as the youngest up to 5 years, and they're so impressionable. And if we can give them those foundations right early in life, so they actually appreciate everything around them, they appreciate the different cultures, that's really laying a fantastic foundation. You have such a comprehensive range of books, and what I saw, I loved, and some of the ones that I grabbed straight away for our centres were the ones where I feel shy, I feel happy, I feel sad, I feel proud, and I think those emotions and the way that our kaiako or our teachers can work with the children to actually build on those is really, really important. What initiated this range of books, and how can parents take the learnings from these to support their children? Because it doesn't finish when a child gets picked up from an early learning centre. The learning continues, and that's where we need that support. So how do parents take the learnings from those?
Yeah, so maybe Renee could sort of talk a little bit about that, but I'll just answer the first question that you had about how it was initiated. So I remember, so what I do is, as I travel the country, the motu, a lot of teachers, so our books are co-created by ourselves and also our community of teachers and parents. So as I travel throughout the country, and each centre that I go to in kindergarten and also schools, they usually give me a wish list of topics that they would like us to write for the following year. And so a few years ago, when I was especially down in Rotorua, a few of the centres down there in some of the schools, they were saying, hey, well, we do have social emotional learning books and feelings books, but a lot of them are from overseas. And so sometimes it's a little bit of a challenge for some of our kids, to really see themselves in these books. Could you guys create a series of books that will help resonate with our tamariki, our learners? And so from there, our process is we usually start the process by just working together with these centres, with head teachers and parents, and also experts. And so it's like a community-led process, which we're really proud of. So that's where that the authenticity comes in. And so from there, we write, they peer review, and provide a lot of feedback, and then we brainstorm some of the things that will go into the book, all these books, especially emotions books. And then from then on, once when we're all happy, and then they give us permission. So they gave us permission to actually go in and to actually to take photos and film in the schools and centres. So it's a very authentic process. And so the finished products, as you can see, it's actually, basically it's from the teachers and parents, for teachers and parents, through us. So that's basically it. And so maybe Renee can sort of share the next part of the question.
Yeah, so Abel covered that really well. So as he said, we consult with others. And so we had a psychologist consult with us on the social emotional learning content. We also did our own research, and what we found is that schools are uniquely placed positionally, because it doesn't matter where the child has come from, their background or socioeconomic status. The schools are able to teach them in an environment where it kind of brings everybody at that level playing field. So regardless of the equitable situations of everybody, teachers are able to teach them there at school. And so for parents, it also gives them an opportunity to capitalize on what's being taught at school and then kind of take that home. And what we tried to do is make sure our books are very basic level, kind of that foundational material, so that it doesn't matter even as a parent. I have a teenager and a young adult at home. And I've even used the books with them because my daughter was having exams and she was getting anxious. And so we pulled out the I Feel Anxious book, and we kind of just went through that. And I said, don't worry about the pictures, but I just said, look at the content, and just helped her realize, what she might have been feeling and some of the things that she could do to manage that. And it just kind of helps them feel that those are natural emotions, those are normal things to feel, and that it's not, everybody has emotions, and so it's about managing.
What you're teaching are the fundamentals, even though it's taught at a very early age. As you said with your teenage daughter, the same fundamentals are there.
Yes.
And how to deal and process all those things. Well, one of the things we have over 200 children in the centres, and with such a wide range of ages, is so many different emotions that are had during the day. And the kaiako will work with those particular children and work through the different things that they're going through, whether they're upset, whether they're shy, whether they're anxious. But at the end of the day, many parents are not trained to do this. So when the child gets home, parents may find it difficult to talk to the children about the experiences that they're having and the support that you've given, Renee, to your daughter. Parents may not know how to do that. So Renee, how would you say, what are the easy ways for parents to actually start these particular conversations?
Absolutely. And I think it's important that parents understand that, there's no real parenting handbook, and how we were raised is how we were raised. And so, some of us had emotionally regulated parents, some of us didn't, so everybody has this different background that they're bringing to raising children. And so wherever we are is perfectly fine. And so again, it's just kind of like just starting simple, and just making a start is important. You don't have to be perfect at it. It's just getting in there and utilizing the books, simple as that, just kind of reading it yourself and beginning at that level as well, to understand like how even yourself experience anxiety or how you experience anger, and then understanding how you can also learn to process that emotion, that it's okay to sit with it for a bit. And then what are the things that help you resolve that anger and to be able to move on? And it's kind of simple, like the more you practice it, the more you'll get better at it. And so it's not simple, but it's a process of just keeping at it and knowing that you can change, that how you might think is your default, you can actually make progress, and you can change to become better emotionally regulated.
But what you're giving people are the tools to use.
Yes.
And that's critical, because without the tools, you just don't know. It doesn't matter what trade you're in, even different trades, without the tools, you don't know how to do it. And that comes down to emotions and social upbringing and social capabilities.
Yeah, I wanted to share something as well. Just some experiences like just going out there and being amongst the centres and kindergartens around New Zealand. Quite a few feedback that I get back from a lot of head teachers of different kindergartens and also centre managers is that a lot of them are actually they're allowing parents to take the books home, those social emotional learning books home, because they feel it's really valuable for them to actually use it. And a lot of parents have actually requested a lot of their head teachers if they could take it home so they can actually use the tools in the book. to each book for them to actually just to help teach their children as well. And I think the way that we've written the books, it's simple enough in terms of the language and the examples in there, and the strategies, and the way that we've structured the books is like from recognizing like what, for example, for angry, if I feel angry, what that emotion looks like, what it feels like, to examples throughout the day that could like trigger those emotions, and then acknowledging that hey, it is okay to feel that way. And then we look at the possible tools that we can use, the strategies to actually help us to maybe to feel better, or maybe just to cope with it as well. So that whole structure in the books it's really well received by a lot of the teachers, and now parents are actually using it more in their homes.
Well, that's what we need to see, how we can get more of what you're doing out there, because I'm very much, in fact, we've got a whole program we're about to launch on social competence and learning the social skills, because so that the biggest complaint that primary schools have is that children they don't have the social skills to cope with anything when they go. Now, that's just what it is. Some centres do it much better than others, but that's what it is. So that what you're doing and those tools that you're providing are just essential. Can you share a story on a story that may show how you mix culture and feelings when you help children learn? Because there's so many different cultures out there, as we know.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can think of a couple of examples, and the first one is we had a teacher who shared one of the books is called I'm Like Maui. And so it talks about, the characteristics of Maui, the color of his skin, that type of thing. And what happened is she had a young Maori boy who lived in a non-Maori community. So he was feeling like he didn't really belong or fit in, and he felt disconnected to his culture. But through reading the book and the positive influence of the teachers, they had a play that they did at the school. And this young man, because of Maui, he decided he wanted to be Maui in the play. And so for them, that was a huge breakthrough for him to be able to acknowledge that, he was Maori, and to be able to connect on that level. And that's a really popular book, I Can Be Like Maui. So that's a really good one. And just the other one is Have a Go. And that one, in there is a purako, a story, a legend about the creation of the world. So the separation of Papatuanuku and Ranginui, and how the light first came into the world. And so it talks about, the siblings, the children of Ranginui and Papatuanuku, how they were, trapped there, and they wanted to have more space and more light, and they were trying to figure out, how do we do this? Can we succeed? And so Tane was the one who said, look, let's have a go, let's make a plan, and let's have a go. And so then that's kind of the basis of the book. Works with that story, and then there's about a discussion like, oh, what were they feeling, when they're trying to make a plan? It must have been difficult, so the children are able to connect with that purako and use cultural narratives to learn and to be able to explore feelings and emotions. And there's other parts of the book as well that kind of match in there as kind of as Abel explained, how do they connect during play, during the day, and things like that. So yeah.
So just to add from what Renee was saying with that book, with like Have a Go, we've also linked it. So a lot of the centres and kindergartens, so they requested Abel, Renee, hey, can you guys create a book to help us like with exploratory play, especially because some kids may have issues with confidence in terms of things like height, speed, dangerous tools, rough play, just all those things that we learn and so that was one of the reasons why we sort of created that book. It's just to ensure that we give that confidence to teach that confidence to young learners to have a go, give it a go in terms of like when they're learning and playing, especially when they're exploring those sort of things. So so that was like
That's terrific. With a lot of parents that they're so busy, they are working flat out at a 9 to 5 job. They come home and a job starts again, rearing their children. What sort of advice would you give to parents on the best way to continue this education of what you're doing without having to be perfect? I mean, they don't have to be perfect. They just need to be there. They need to be there for the child. They need to be able to give that support, I suppose, and a lot of your things reflect that. What sort of advice would you give for parents?
Yeah, I'll go. So I think for parents, again, it's, understanding that, just the small steps are what's important, and you can always build from there. So, connecting with culture or social emotional learning, it's kind of the same thing. Like, you just take an opportunity to pick a book, one of our books is great, or something else, and you just kind of integrate it into, you might have, one night where you're going to go together and read the book and decide, oh, you know what, let's practice this. And so throughout the week, you might highlight when that emotion is coming up, and you say, oh, I think you might be feeling a little bit angry there. Like, what's it feel like? Where are you feeling it in your body? Because especially with children, often they might feel like, oh, it's a headache, like they've got a sore head, or it's a sore tummy, and they don't realize that that's anxiety. Or they might feel it in their fist, they've got clenched fist, and that's the anger, but they don't know how to verbalize that as an emotion. So they have these experiences in their body, or the clenched teeth, when they're angry. And so that's, a parent could just help identify, like, oh, that's anger. And so when you're feeling anger, do you remember when we read the book, or when we had the talk about it? What can we do when we're feeling angry? You can just take some time. If you need to have a little break, take some time out, and when you're ready to come and talk, we can talk about it. So it's those little things. Abel might have some more things to add on to that, but just those simple steps, helping to label the emotion and helping them understand that it's natural to have those emotions, that it's not a naughty thing to be angry. That's a natural emotion that helps us learn how to interact with the world and other people. And as we manage those things, we can get better at them. And so I think it's important for kids to feel that, like, they're not naughty. It's just an emotion that they're going to learn to manage, just like any other skill or talent that they have. They'll go through phases of it.
And what do you hope to see in the future when it comes to teaching culture and feelings in schools and home? I mean, we're even going earlier back. It's not in the schools, it's starting in early childcare, which I think is fantastic to start so young. And what do you hope to see for the future? And this is before we get on to your plans for the future that I'm very excited to hear.
Well, I'll go and then they will probably answer. So one of the things that we found in our research is that children who develop higher social emotional skills at an early age are better able to deal with life's difficulties as they grow. So right from a young age, right through the lifespan. And so as they're able to, learn those emotional skills, their mental health is much better as they go through their life as well. So for us, that's one of our main goals, is, just to help build happy, resilient, successful children, however success looks like for them. But putting that into the resources, making that available at a young age, because that's what we found is there's a gap there, and that's why we write to that young age, around 4 years old to 7 years old, because those are key stages of development, brain development, learning about yourself, learning how to interact with other children, the first time they're going out of the family home into a school. So very important time of their lives. Yeah.
And that ties in what I was talking about before, is that so many children going to primary school are not prepared for it, but what you're doing prepares them for it. And we're just about to launch a Climb to Confidence program within our centres, and I'd be really keen to talk to you guys about it, how your books and everything in time with what we're doing, because it's very much along the same lines. So
I'd love to. That'd be wonderful. Yeah.
Well, I guess for me, it's I just hope that, like, the culture and emotion are all, like, woven naturally into, like, into the classroom and into learning, and it's not as like any extras or anything like that. So in that way, we'd love to see that that the children, like, they value it and they're able to be confident in actually practicing it. So yeah, so hopefully these resources will help inspire them to reach their potential.
And what are the big plans for the future with Abel and Renee? Is there anything you want to share in terms of what you're developing?
Yes, I think Abel will share that.
Yeah. So I'll go first. So we're looking at, we want to make all our resources accessible to all our parents online, and also our teachers as well in school. So we'll be introducing in the next few months, maybe in the next month or so, a Culture Hub library. It's a subscription-based area of our website wherein we will give access to parents and teachers and schools to be able to access our full range of our catalog, our books, our ebooks, our audio, and also video learning materials, and also teacher parent materials as well. So in that way, for them to be able to use in their everyday teaching and learning. Renee, did you have anything else that you wanted to share?
No, just that we're trying to continually innovate and meet the demand of, this young growing population on social media. So we do have our social media page if people wanted to come and find out more about all the other range that we have. But also, just creating video content for the kids and the parents as well is kind of on our list of things to do. But ultimately, as we've said, with the parents, helping them to have the access to those books so they can support their children at home, as well as supporting themselves, because I know, like I mentioned, we all come from different backgrounds and parents have different experiences as well. So, for our kids, we'll do anything. I'm sure we will. So, it's just learning, and hopefully we can provide those resources to families and children. Yeah.
Yeah. One more thing, Alan. One more thing, Alan. So just as the other exciting thing also is that we're working with a lot of families with neurodivergent children, and so we just introduced our second book of that series. So we want to tell those stories of their lived experiences, just to so others, other neurodivergent children can also relate to, as well as others to be more empathetic of what they go through. Also, we are excited in the new year, so we're looking at taking our resources to Australia and to be able to just to sell there. So those are some of the exciting things that we're currently working on. So the third book of our neurodivergent series, so we've covered two so far, is we've worked with a family in Auckland with a neurodivergent child that's autistic, and the second book is a brother and sister who are both ADHD. So one is a busy body and the other is a busy brain. And then the third book will come out next year, hopefully in February, March. It's around a boy who is dyslexia and dysgraphia. So we're looking at creating a lot of these resources to help with learning.
And I think it's great that it's not only helping with learning, but it's making people more aware. ADHD is so common. There's a lot of it around. There's a lot of neurodiverse children around. It's nothing wrong. It's just what it is, and it's how we work with those children to give them the support, and even for parents to understand the support is there for them as well. I think what you're doing going online is fantastic, because you can't keep up going on the road all the time. You actually need to get where you can get out more exposure, and what you are talking about and what you're doing spans the world. It's not a country. It can be anybody or any child, because they're all the skills that they need to learn. We could keep talking and talking, because what you're doing is absolutely fantastic. But what I will need to, you're very busy, I'll need to let you go, but I would like to just let our listeners know that the resources are available on Cultural Hub, HUBB.com. It's one word. Go to that website. You can see all the books. You can buy all the books from there. They are a really, really good resource and a great help for parents and whānau. So I thank you so much, Abel and Renee, for your time. What you're doing is fabulous. We can just continue to expand and get our children and tamariki to understand and learn from the work that you are putting in. So it is very much appreciated what you're actually doing to help people.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Alan.
Pleasure, Alan.
Yes.
Thank you so much.